This is a prophecy from Daniel 8. There shall arise a king of shameless countenance. Some translations say fierce countenance, wise in dark speakings. He shall be mighty and strong, but not in his own strength. He shall destroy above measure, and all he goeth about shall prosper. And he shall slay the holy people, and through his policy falsehood shall prosper. His heart shall be proud, and by peace he shall destroy many. He shall stand up against the prince of princes, yet he will be destroyed, though not by human hand. So, Victor Hugo, if I were to ask you, tell me of a man who is shameless, who lies all the time, and is proud-hearted, and destroys in the name of peace, who comes to mind?
Trumpstein, Donald Trumpstein, who Dustin Nemos and I have been shunned and blacklisted for daring to warn people about him.
And something occurred to me. I saw in a kind of waking vision Trump strapped to a bomb that was falling to earth. And the bomb landed on the ground, but it didn't blow up. And when he landed on the ground, a giant clubbed him to death. And I thought, oh, not by human hand. So I infer that Trump is going to be killed by a Nephilim, one of the descendants of this union between angel and the daughters of men. He's going to be killed by a member of the Nephilim race.
The way I see this is as a script and a screenwriter, knowing that he is on IMDb and he's been in movies like Home Alone and also in the Hall of Fame with the World Wrestling Federation. Again, the Mossad agent who went on CBS News 60 Minutes said, we are the producers, we are directors, we are the screenwriters, we have the actors, we set the stage. The world is our stage. You are watching a film. The film was, and it's a real shitty movie, but this is how it goes. Trump gets in, he makes America great again. Everybody's like, great. Then they have to do a humiliation ceremony. So they steal the election and they have President Pedo Pete Poopy Pants come in, Biden, who doesn't do anything. They're finding out that basically he didn't even sign anything. It was all auto-signed. They infiltrated with a bunch of Jews who opened the borders to allow the sleeper cells to come in so that they can destroy the United States. That's the whole thing. You have to destroy, you don't. And then after they bring the United States through a tremendous humiliation ceremony, they bring Trump back in. Trump didn't win anything. He was selected. He was going to win even if nobody voted. That's why I was telling people don't vote. So then he comes in and notice how everything he's changed. At first, he was bragging about being the peace president, that he would be able to end the war in the Ukraine with one phone call in an hour, that he would be about peace. No, he's doing everything that the Jews who are writing this screenplay have done. Now, he's painted himself into a corner because he said that if anything happens to him, if he gets assassinated, to attack Iran, because Iran's the one that did it. So you just heard Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday say that Iran is going to assassinate Trump. So now one of two things are going to happen. They're either going to really assassinate Trump this time, not that bullshit that they did at Butler, Pennsylvania. I don't know if you saw this, Abdiel. The other day, I was nicked and I was bleeding like profusely. For 2 days, I had to have something on my face to stop the bleeding. Meanwhile, he gets shot in the ear and he's like, fine. Like, no blood on his hands. He lied about that to the audience that he had blood on his hands. It's just such theater. And then, so there's two things that are going to happen. Either he's going to really get killed, like the Jews killed JFK because they hate Trump. But remember, Trump owed everything to the Rothschilds because they bailed him out with his Taj Mahal in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And he's leveraged. That's why he doesn't want the dollar to collapse either, because basically all his wealth is built on debt because he's got properties. He doesn't own shit. So if they assassinate him, he's dead. Okay. And they'll put J.D. Vance in, who's a puppet of Peter Thiel, and he's easily manipulated.
Or
Or
or he'll have another. Go on.
or or they will fake his death, and he'll go live somewhere like with Jeffrey Epstein on an island or something, where they send the people who are in the witness protection program, and he'll live out the rest of his life, doing whatever it is that he wants to do. There's plenty of places on this earth where you can hide. I know, and there's remote places where you can hide. You could just disappear. So those are the two things that they got going on right now. But
There's the third one.
he's going to be out of the picture. What's the third one?
The third one, he has a miraculous resurrection.
Oh yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, I mean that's in Revelation 13. The beast appeared to have a fatal wound, but
Yeah.
he recovered miraculously, and
The
yeah, the
reason
beast
why I
coming
don't
out.
think the reason why I don't think that's going to be him is because he's too old. I think the Antichrist is going to be younger. That's just my opinion. I don't. Dustin Nemos thinks he's,
I don't know.
but I think the Antichrist is going to be younger than that.
Well, I'm not clear on whether he's the Antichrist or not, but he certainly ticks boxes for being the man of lawlessness, otherwise known as the son of perdition, and
Yeah,
this king of shameless countenance.
yeah, he's definitely not a good guy for sure.
So I have, again, this is on a Substack article. I've written a piece called Your Trump Quiz, and it has 20 plus questions about Trump, and no magatard has come back to me with any answers to these questions. He who hailed Operation Warp Speed. So the Trump quiz begins, did Trump on the campaign trail in 2016 say he would bring back a hell of a lot worse than waterboarding?
He
Which is
did.
a form of torture. It's a form
Yes,
of torture where they bring someone to the verge of drowning repeatedly. And the Eighth Amendment of the Bill of Rights prohibits cruel and unusual punishment. So the question is, has Trump even read the Bill of Rights? I doubt it. So here we are. This is a tweet put out by the White House, I think. The king of shameless countenance. Trump calls himself the chosen one. As I said before, the Israel Heritage Foundation awarded him this menorah and called him the Prince of Peace. This is blasphemy, both to true Israel and to Christians, because, quote, a child is born to us, a son is given to us, and authority will be on his shoulders. He will be named Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Eternal Father, Prince of Peace. So this is the prophecy from Isaiah chapter 9, speaking of the babe who will be born in Bethlehem. So, in calling himself the Prince of Peace, I have worked as an English teacher, and whenever I want to describe irony, which is when the implied meaning is opposite to the surface meaning, I like to quote this one from Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, where they talk about shedding blood and having red weapons, and waving our red weapons o'er our heads, let's all cry out peace, freedom, and liberty. As ironic as it gets. So we had a comedy duo disguised as a presidential debate. So, did you ever watch Pinky and the Brain, Victor Hugo?
Yes.
Okay, so every week it begins that the new episode, and Pinky says to Brain, "Oh, Brain, what are we gonna do tonight?" And Brain says, "Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world." "Oh, are we gonna do that, Brain?" And then Brain says what his scheme is for that week, and then Pinky says, "Oh, Narf." So this is what we had with the so-called presidential debate. We had Pinky and the Brain. It was a comedy duo, and Trump was playing the straight man to Biden's clown. Clearly, that clown is an actor. If I go to the next slide, it's pretty obvious that the old Biden is not the Biden that appeared in that debate. The one on the right doesn't even have the wrinkles you would expect of that age, suggesting he's wearing a mask. So this was all theater. And then we have the magic bullet of Butler, the purported assassination attempt of July 13th, 2024. I have worked in theater. I have done stage combat. Whenever you want to sell an injury, you do it on the upstage side. In other words, the side that the audience cannot see. We, as the audience viewing that video footage of the purported assassination, did not see what happened on the upstage side. Those behind Trump did see at least some of it, but they were so bored by the whole thing that they barely reacted when the assassin's bullets rang out. So my question is, what take were they on? Were they on the 10th take or the 12th take? Also, Trump miraculously turning his head to look at the billboard to his right just before the shots rang out. Well, it wasn't just before, because he was talking about that billboard and saying the same thing 2 or 3 times, suggesting to me he was extemporizing until the cue, because that was his cue for the shots to ring out. So the cue was late, and so he had to extemporize and say the same thing 2 or 3 times.
Not only
We
that,
had
but
those yeah.
I recently saw the footage again, and the women that he had as his protective force, they were shorter than him. They actually
Yeah.
gave him enough time to raise his fist, look at the crowd, and yell, fight back, or whatever, fight, fight, fight. It was just so
Yeah.
staged. It was so staged. In a real scenario, they would not have allowed that to happen because they would have figured that there were multiple shooters. Also, the way that the government works, if they want you dead, he would have been dead. There would have been more than
Of
one
course.
shooter. They washed off the roof immediately afterwards. They got rid of all the evidence. I mean, it's just, it boggles my mind how, the other day I had this guest on again, Dave Gahari, and I felt kind of embarrassed because on the one hand, I'm like touting him. And I'm like, oh yeah, I was like touting him. Now I feel like an idiot because the people who were in the comment section, they said right off the bat, I equated the fact that my cheek was bleeding. I said, that makes me realize how fake the assassination was. And like within the first 5 minutes of the interview, he was like, no, 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 that assassination attempt was real. And people were like, you know what? I stopped watching it because at
I'm
that
out.
moment
Yeah.
I realized
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
guy discredited himself. So
Yeah.
it's really weird. People ask me like how I do this. I invite people onto my show and I let them speak. I don't always agree with everything that they say, you know, but sometimes, like, as I'm having this conversation with some, put it this way, people, you're at a bar, you meet somebody for the first time. A lot of times that happens, right? With Abdiel, I've already done a number of shows with him, so like I feel comfortable with him. But when you meet someone for the first time at a bar, you're not grilling them, you're just having a conversation. Then, after you leave the bar, certain things come into your mind about the conversation that you had with the person that you just met. And then you're wondering, like, was that person full of shit or were they real or should I bother to see that person again? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what happens with me with this show. Person comes in, first 5 minutes, tells me that he believes that Trump, really had that. Same thing happened with SGT Report and X22 Report, all these shows. they swear that it really happened. I'm like, man, I can't really trust you anymore if either you're lying to me or you're stupid. And so I don't know, what do I do? I'm 5 minutes into an interview with the guy. Do I kick him off my show for being an idiot? Or do I keep going on with it? I got a show to do. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Give me a
So
break,
as you
people.
said, yeah, those exos were posing as Secret Service agents. Those girls didn't know where to
Totally.
holster their weapons,
Yeah, yeah.
and
It was
so these, of course, I mean, I would someone like Ollie Damigard, who is very well versed in all these false flag events, would do a forensic analysis of this whole thing. But these are some of the perspectives that I can add from my experience as an actor. And I also, when you talk about the crisis acting industry, it's a huge industry. And if anyone wants to look it up, there's a company called crisiscast.com based in the UK. But I also discovered another crisis actor. And has this screen come up?
yes. Yes.
Okay,
I've
so
heard.
this is
Yeah, yeah, this chick.
so so this is a public service announcement put out by Intermountain Healthcare. They're the biggest hospital network in Utah and Idaho, that sort of area. And she is saying, this is August 2021, she's saying that 99% of the patients in the hospital are unvaccinated. And her purported name is Kayla McDonald, RN. So she has quite distinctive coloring. She's got red hair, a parting on her right. She's got gray-green eyes. And of course, so this aroused my suspicions. And I thought, let me just have a look around and see if there is a Kayla McDonald actress. And da 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 da. Kayla McDonald, red hair, gray-green eyes, parting on the same side. The two Kaylas appear to be one and the same. Now, this is a 3-minute video. Shall I play it or shall I just move on?
Yes, please play it.
Okay, so let me know if the sound comes out all right, because I don't know. You can tell me.
Okay.
Actually, it might not, because I'm using headphones. So you might just.
Well, let's try it. Is it playing?
So did you hear anything? No. Okay. So I think just if anyone wants to hear that bit, it's a 3-minute video I made about these two women being the same. Kayla McDonald, RN, Kayla McDonald, actress, with her IMDb page and so on. That's it back here.
Yeah, it's a shame.
And then there's the
Again,
yeah.
we talk about soul currency. These people who do this stuff, these crisis actors, everything from Sandy Hook to the Boston bombing to the whole Trump assassination thing, they sold their souls because the world changed because of those events. And these people are running around holding on to that secret. It's just disgusting. These people are such sellouts. Those are also people that I believe need to be decapitated, tried and decapitated, because really they're a detriment to humanity. They may not even be human. If you're willing to whore yourself out like that, I mean, the world changed. That might have been why Trump was elected, by the way, because everybody was like, wow, this guy's amazing. Hey, what a cunt. What a cunt. She's a cunt.
And he's been yeah. And Trump has been bolstered by the divine providence narrative. So the idea that it was because of divine providence that he turned his head at the time. So what's the first missing letter you thought of when I showed you this photo?
Yeah. F. It's hilarious. Yeah. Can you believe, by the way, Abdiel, I had people who unsubscribed from my channel because they said they thought I was faking the Band-Aid that I had on, that I was trying to be like Trump.
Oh,
I'm
well, of all the things to unsubscribe for. Wow.
I mean, but not only that, it's like weird that people have like such a mental illness that they don't believe anything. Like everything is a conspiracy now, you know? I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know
it
what
can be. Yeah, I mean, we can go too far the other way. So this is where discernment comes in.
like where what the hell would
And then
I'm putting a Band-Aid on my face. I don't get it. I don't quite
uh,
understand.
so this is something more obvious. This is Eric Trump
Yeah.
flashing, flashing the Illuminati. So I captioned it, "Honey, please stop."
Yeah, yeah.
And I wonder if that is that Ivanka on the right there.
Yeah, and she's with the Jew Jared,
Kushner.
who yeah. And then look at Marco Rubio in the back. That guy's a total sellout. I was contacting him and warning him years ago. I have all the faxes and emails to prove it. He's no good. Trump surrounded himself with the least honorable people in his administration. It's so disgusting.
So I think Ivanka there is giving him the eye, like, "Can you stop already, or cut it out?" Or so he's
They
got
don't
two women telling him to stop right there.
they don't care. They're flaunting it at this point. They really
Well, in
believe
the
that.
next, he did stop doing that sign after they motioned to him. Now, this is a thumbnail from your friends at Redacted News. Um, so this was when they had James Roguski going on. So James Roguski, he was exposing the truth of the WHO pandemic treaty. But the image they put on their thumbnail was not of James Roguski, it was of Trump ripping up a treaty. That fierce countenance, fake hero, and then he's even got that laurel wreath going on behind him.
Yeah.
And as you famously said, you were redacted on redacted.
Yeah. So sad. So fake.
The following day, Mike Adams, it was by the grace of God that bullet missed Trump's skull. You've got the counterfeit holy entourage. You've got that lying piece of shit pastor Brandon Biggs, who there was a convenient video that surfaced that was recorded a
Yeah.
few months earlier that
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
that Trump would have a bullet in his ear, and then after that, Trump would be on fire for Jesus. So if Trump were on fire for Jesus, he'd be on his knees in the Oval Office, weeping and begging for forgiveness for putting millions of people to death with his warp speed beautiful products.
Which he still has not apologized for.
No. So this business of surrounding Trump with fake Christians is straight out of Shakespeare's Richard III, because Richard has murdered his way towards becoming King of England, but he just needs that little push to get him over the threshold. So his henchman is Buckingham, the Duke of Buckingham, and he says to Richard, I'm going to come up, I'm going to visit you with a delegation. When we show up with that delegation, we need to find you on your knees in prayer. Get a prayer book in your hand and stand betwixt two churchmen, good my lord, for on that ground I'll build a holy descant. So what's playing out with Trump is what played out with Richard III in Shakespeare's imagination,
Yeah.
surrounding himself with fake clergy. And there
Yeah.
he is, lo and behold, they're laying hands on him. Paradoxically, he's got the menorah right in front of him, and there they are bestowing their fake blessings from fake Christians.